gentlemen, there's big breaking TV. Welcome to Primetime, bitch.
We are live. Welcome back to Primetime, everybody. I'm your host, Hunter Chambliss, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, as always, Chad and Carrie. How's it going, guys?
Candy cane. I'm doing great, Hunter. How are you?
Also
man?
joined by Banks.
Yeah. Have my island berry going on.
Got my Guinness Blonde as usual.
Oh, I got these Warheads sour beers.
Yo, that sounds amazing.
They're pretty good. They don't really taste like Warheads, but if you like a fruity sour, they're pretty good.
So this is probably the hungriest baby kitty that you've ever seen.
Don't show your butt
So-
on the camera. Banks.
All right.
All right, guys. So after that interesting intro, we are talking about horror comedies today because last week's episode, or 2 weeks ago's episode, was a drag. It was awful to talk about because we talked about children dying, and no one wants to hear that. We want to hear about horror comedies. So how we're going to do this is kind of like how we did it when we did the horror representation episode. We're going to bring up a movie, talk about what we love about it, kind of go around and talk about it, and then just kind of go from there. We're going to go about an hour and just talking about some of our favorite horror comedies. So let's start off with Chad with his first horror comedy nomination.
All right. Well, I got to go with one of my favorites, and it's going to be one that we haven't really talked about on here because I could bring about others that we all love. But instead, I will start with one that I particularly love, and I know Carrie really enjoys as well, and it's Shaun of the Dead. So Shaun of the Dead, and you know, I've thrown this into my horror trivia.
A lot of people have.
Try to score some points there. Well, because it's amazing. People love this movie, and there's a reason why. I mean, it's like a parody film made by Edgar Wright, but it's way more than that. Like, I don't even think of this as a parody film. You know, even though it's like taking from a lot of the Dead movies, especially Night of the Living Dead, you know, and just throwing a lot of like homages in for that, but it's also its own great story that just stands on its own. It's got a lot of you know, it's a majority comedy. It's got some horror elements, it's got some drama elements, it's got like pretty much everything you'd need. It's not overly long, it's very tight, very fun to watch. You really love these characters. You know, it's hilarious, action packed in some cases. When they actually get into the bar and then they gotta like start wailing on zombies with pool cues, you know, stuff like that. It's just like one of those things. Like Edgar Wright started this, and he did like some of the best things with telling the entire story by using just like news channel, flicking through news channels, and you're like, here's the story of the movie, and you know, just kind of telling it like right from the beginning. And it's just brilliant writing that he did with Simon Pegg. And yeah, you just laugh with this movie from beginning to end. You know, you love the characters and you love them so much. You love these actors together so much that, you know, you go through the entire Cornetto trilogy with this, different stories each movie. But, you know, it's it's the one that started it all and gave Edgar Wright his career, arguably maybe space too. And it's just one of my favorite movies. I love it to death.
Carrie?
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is like, you know, it's pretty heavy on the comedy side. So I think for me, it's really a comfort movie. Like, this is a movie I would watch when I want to, you know, just laugh and have a good time. But I do think it does just the parody of zombie movies so well, especially Night of the Living Dead. It's such a great, it's so great to see those callbacks to the originals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the one thing I love about this movie is, as Carrie said, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it still has serious moments. What's great about it is, like, you can laugh along and really enjoy the ride, but the comedy doesn't take away from the serious moments, which is really good, which is a shows how good Edgar Wright is as a writer and director. He doesn't let his comedy overshadow some serious moments. Like, for example, I love Thor Ragnarok, but I feel like the comedy overdid the serious moments in a way. But this is perfect because you have, some good horror, some good tension, some good action scenes,
Mhm.
especially in the Winchester at the end with "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen playing on the jukebox, and the big zombie fight
Yeah,
with that song is fantastic.
best
Um,
scenes ever. Yeah.
Kind of harkening back to what Kingsman would do a few years later with the church scene.
Church scene. Yeah.
Um, and this has a star cast. Talking about Bill Nighy,
Mhm.
Lucy
Mhm.
Davis, as of
Mhm.
course Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Um, and another thing I love is like the start of this movie is hilarious because like you could tell that Sean is already kind of dead inside. He's living the same
Mhm.
routine day to the point where it shows that exact same scene again, but with zombies, like the apocalypse happening, and he has no idea
Yeah,
that
oblivious.
he's oblivious to the fact that zombies have taken over because he's literally a zombie, doing the same thing over and over and over again every
Yeah.
day.
That's actually the first like thing that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg like had in their head, like they wanted to do first was like that. And that's actually I think the first thing that they filmed too. They
Oh,
wanted
that's
to get it
amazing.
perfect. And
Yeah,
that
and then
they
like the
did.
whole idea of like there's a couple kissing in the alleyway, and then they cut back to the next part, and it's the woman eating the
Yeah.
face of the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just these little callbacks that like, oh, you can watch it and catch new things every time. Like
Absolutely.
I watched the kill count on it, and he brought up different details in the background. Like one
Oh,
body
cool.
is just hiding in the car that you don't see when
Oh wow.
Sean is walking in the beginning. There's cops in the
Mhm.
car, and there's a body in a car. I didn't even notice it the first time I watched it because the camera focuses on Sean. Because you
Mhm.
notice in the background, there's different stuff you can look for.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
he's also like said anytime there's like a little shop or something in the background, there's always some sort of way to sneak in a little like callback to some sort of horror movie or something. And it's like the shop next to the convenience store is like called like Bub's Pizza or something like that, and it's like Day of the
Oh
Dead.
yeah, Day of the
Yeah,
Dead.
so
Oh, okay. I see.
and
That's
it's
cool.
really cool.
All right, Carrie, you want to move on to yours, or you guys want to talk about Sean a little bit more?
And we can move on.
Okay, I'm good with moving on.
Yeah.
So I guess the first movie I'm gonna throw out definitely is a lot more on the comedy side, but it has such great horror elements that I really wanted to bring it up. And that's Young Frankenstein.
Ooh.
And this is again, I mean, I think all of these movies we're gonna talk about today are like some of just my favorite movies of all time because they blend the horror genre, but with with comedy and with you can throw it on and just laugh along. Like, and this movie just has some of the best jokes. It does such a great parody of the old Frankenstein Universal monster movies. Yeah, that's all I got to say about it.
Oh, okay.
Chad?
Yeah, like Young Frankenstein's fantastic. It's Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder and Peter Boyle and Frau Bluchner. Yeah, so there's like so many great jokes. Put the candle back. There's just so many great jokes.
The whole put it on the Ritz
Put
sequence.
yeah,
That's so it's hilarious.
yeah. He did such a great job with this. Yeah, also making. I mean, this one's definitely more of a parody than Shaun of the Dead. I think personally, but like, it's also just a really fun, great movie to watch on its own. And I really love Peter Boyle as as young Frankenstein, and so it's just really funny just to see him as this like kind of mindless monster, and then at some point he's like in bed with his wife and wearing glasses, reading a newspaper. This is like what? This movie's amazing. And you know, Gene Wilder is just one of the comedy geniuses. You know, of old, I guess. You know, he's no longer with us. But yeah, Young Frankenstein, very very funny movie in black and white. One of the classics. You know, in its own right, and I definitely love watching that movie. I guess that's all I have to say about it.
So it's been a while since I've seen this movie.
Frankenstein, by the way.
It's Frankenstein. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, so a lot of the scenes I don't remember clearly enough. But I do remember enjoying this movie. I was kind of younger when I watched it. But the great thing I love about it is I didn't watch the original Frankenstein until much later. Actually, about 2 years ago was the first time I ever watched it. So, kind of comparing Young Frankenstein and Frankenstein, you see some of the similarities like a good parody should do, where it mocks fun of the movie it's based on. Or like the one scene I remember in Young Frankenstein is when his arm gets caught on fire and he's sitting there just doing that. Again, I can't really add a lot to it because I haven't seen it in a very long time. I need to go back and rewatch it.
I love that movie. Yeah,
but I mean, Mel Brooks just itself is really good at doing these type of parody movies. Like Spaceballs is one of my favorite comedies he's done.
Blazing Saddles, westerns,
Blazing Saddles. Like he just has tons of different parody movies, and what's good about parodies is the good ones don't have to be mean-spirited towards the movie it's parodying. It can parody the movie and show respect at the same time, which he did with Star Wars, with Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein, with the original Frankenstein, and things like that. He didn't make the characters like a lot of parody movies, like Epic Movie and all them. What they did was they used trash humor and kind of mean-spirited humor to get a life out of somebody. When Mel Brooks can show you, I can have these jokes in here and not be mean-spirited towards people who made these great works.
Yeah, I mean, you can even like look at a movie like freaking Galaxy Quest that's kind of like a Star Trek parody. But then people might go like, honestly, I think Galaxy Quest is my favorite Star Trek film. So
or like Spaceballs, it's my favorite Star Wars film.
And then the one thing I wanted to add before we move on about Young Frankenstein is they actually did a musical version of it. I never got to see it, and I'm really sad about it.
There's a musical version of it?
There was a musical that they did,
Wow. I mean, to be fair though, Green Day also had a musical, so I'm not surprised anymore.
American Idiot,
All right, so I guess are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Sure.
What do you got?
All right, so I'm between two. And I'm going to go with this one. One of my favorite horror movies of this year. Not this year, but the year it came out. 2020's Freaky.
Okay.
A take on Freaky Friday, or as some people said, which I remember this movie, but The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider. I've heard that this movie's a horror version of that.
Love The Hot Chick. That's a really funny
because it's like a grown man being in like a teenage girl's body.
Is that a serious statement that you love The Hot Chick?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
Is there something wrong with The Hot Chick?
I don't know. Is there? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay, anyways, moving
a
on.
lot of people hate that movie. I remember watching it as a kid, but it was weird. It had like Rob Schneider and Rachel McAdams, and they switched body. It's weird.
Yeah, I love Rob. I remember watching the trailer when that movie was coming out, and I was so stoked for. You got to understand, at the time, Adam Sandler was like my favorite actor of all time, and I was a kid, and he was like the producer on this, and Rob Schneider was, Rachel McAdams is pretty. I don't know. I like this movie.
But yeah, this film was directed by Christopher Landon, who, of course, did Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, which is another great horror comedy that I want to bring up. later on. But I love Christopher Landon's ideas of taking classic like children's films and giving them a horror twist. Like as I said before, Happy Death Day is Groundhog's Day with horror. You've got this Freaky, which is Freaky Friday, with a horror twist, except it is a teenage girl being transformed into a serial killer played by Vince Vaughn, which, first off, Vince Vaughn is terrifying. That dude is tall as hell and could definitely be a great serial killer, as we showed in this
Yeah.
movie. And I'm just a huge fan of Catherine Newton. I remember
I love her.
she's amazing. I remember seeing her in, actually, funny enough, another Christopher Landon directed film, Paranormal Activity 4.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I didn't know she was in it. She's
Yeah,
in
so
Supernatural.
she's
That's
younger.
where I know her from.
Was she in Supernatural?
She was Jimmy, who is, oh my god, this is getting, no, I'm not gonna get into it. But she's in the later season. She's Claire.
Okay. I definitely get, like, I've watched Supernatural from like season 1 to 7, and they kind of
you didn't get there yet. You didn't get there yet.
But yeah, she was in Final Destination 4, which was also directed by Landon. Actually, 4 is one of the better Paranormal Activity films.
I thought you said Final Destination. Okay, never mind.
No, Paranormal Activity 4.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Me neither.
I didn't say that, right? I didn't say Final Destination by accident.
I think you might have said Final Destination the second
Maybe.
time you said
It elicited a response from me because that movie. All right.
Maybe. But there are just so many nods to horror films in this movie. Like, just in the opening scene alone, the cold opening, which, funny enough, is Friday the 13th night. The big mansion scene with these characters, you just want to die already. So that's already a great slasher setup. And the innovative ways that Landon comes up with the way the Blissfield Butcher kills people, amazing. The first kill of the movie is breaking a wine bottle like into a guy's neck. And you're just like, all right, that's where we're going with this. All right, it's rated R, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, he definitely went for that R-rated. But what's good is he doesn't just make it all a gore fest. The whole idea of like gaining confidence, because Millie, again played by Catherine Newton, she's kind of reserved. She's kind of down on herself. But when when Vince Vaughn becomes her, you see that confidence growing in her, and that's only because it's somebody else, but also the whole idea of like gaining confidence will have people see you in a different light, which I love. Lennon always has these great messages about whether it's friendships or whether it's about, family in Happy Death Day or finding confidence in Freaky. So it's a good horror comedy with a message, which I love, and also very, very good kills. Carrie?
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. The kills in this movie, I remember they really were really fantastic. And I think this movie, I don't know, I think it was a lot of people, I guess, were disappointed by it or something. I thought it was a very fun, like, horror comedy. I was entertained the whole time I watched it. So yeah, I think this is a great pick. It's like a great new horror comedy, I think.
Mm-hmm. Chad?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun for what it was, I think. But ultimately, I didn't really love this one. I think as much. I think probably at some point I need to revisit it. Because I didn't get a lot of the things that you saw in it, Hunter. I don't think I really got. But now that you said there's like a deeper character study to this, a deep gaining confidence and stuff like that. Like sometimes you don't always pick up on the messages that the filmmaker is trying to say the first time. And I just thought it was kind of a silly horror not remake but take or whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't love the style of the comedy in this. I thought it was way too sexualized and stuff like that for a high school comedy. I just thought, I don't know, I didn't really enjoy this one that much, but it still an interesting movie.
I
I
will
mean,
say,
I do like the concept for sure.
yeah, I will say one of the funniest jokes, and you actually hear it in the trailer, is when her friends are being chased by Millie in the killer's body, and Josh, the gay guy, goes, "I'm gay, you're black, we're so screwed."
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. To me, like the comedy works well when it comes to like there is not a lot of jokes in it, but the jokes that are in there land for me. And the one thing I actually love is Landon does this thing where Millie, and now this is gonna get kind of confusing, but Millie in the killer's body is talking to her crush in the back of the back of the police car. And they do this kind of like this kiss between Vince Vaughn and this, you know, teen, and it doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel like they're making it up for laughs or whatever. You
Right.
you you kind of get the whole idea of like, oh, this is Millie and this is her, you know, Millie in the killer's body. The whole idea of like, well, at least what I got from it is not judging people by their looks. Because he could have easily been like, oh no, I'm gonna wait till you're in your body. But no, he's like, I don't care. I like you for you. And then they do that. And what's great is it doesn't feel awkward or played up for laughs or anything like that. It's just played normal, like natural.
You actually reminded me of something, because I actually remember actually really liking Vince Vaughn in the movie. Now that I think about it, I remember you reminded me of that one part in the car, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, Vince Vaughn was actually really good in the movie, like playing like a teenage girl in a man's body, like. Some people can't sell it. I think he did, and then also Jack Black also did it in Jumanji.
Jumanji, yeah.
Like some of these guys can like really play like young girls.
Yeah.
Like,
And by the way, like Vince Vaughn has said in interviews that he worked with Catherine Newton behind the scenes, and that if you watch the movie again, Vince Vaughn in Millie's body has some of the same twitches that Millie we see at the beginning of the movie. Like he'll like bite his fingers or like kind of twitch with his hair a little bit, or kind of just like have little Millie characteristics,
really cool.
but he's in Vince Vaughn's body, which is really cool.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie. I'll probably like it more the second time.
So like again, if you notice in the beginning, like she's kind of like quiet and shy, and she'll like bite her nails a little bit. If you watch when she's in his body, he'll do he does the exact same thing. He's quiet, he's more kind of reserved, and then he kind of like bites his fingers, and then it's little twitches, like little characteristics that ties in that they're different people in different bodies.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, Chad, back to you.
Yes. All right. Well, let me go ahead and bring up. Well, all right. I'll bring up What We Do in the Shadows, because I know Carrie really wants to talk about that too. So I'll bring that one up. What We Do in the Shadows was something else. It's a mockumentary, and done by Taika Waititi, and just such a funny movie. I love everything Taika does. What the Carrie?
Oh.
Can you stop?
Sorry.
Sorry, Carrie's messing with stuff. I love everything that Taika does, and everything that I think it's Jermaine Clement. I love Flight of the Conchords. He's in there. I think he had partial direction in it too. It's basically like a vampire comedy, and it's like just like like 3 or 4 vampires, like one really old vampire, living in a house, and they're all kind of like just like bros, just kind of hanging out. They all have different styles. One's like I'm a bad boy and, and stuff like that, and they all have like really fun like personalities. They go fight a gang of werewolves, and then there's just so much with this movie that's just so fun. I just love kind of like the mockumentary style, kind of like the Office type style, where just it'll cut to them and they'll be talking about something that went on in the house and stuff like that. And Yeah, it's just a really fun movie. I love that style. And then they made a TV show out of it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of the best TV shows ever. And yeah, so I think this is a very fun movie. Carrie, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, this is another, like I said, this is going to be filled with some of my favorite movies. This is one of my favorite movies ever. It's just hilarious all the way through. And I don't know, it just combines so many different, like, types of comedies. Like, I think there's comedy in this movie for everyone. There's like physical comedy, there's very dry wit, dry humor, and just some like just straight jokes. And I don't know, I can't even express what makes me love
And
this movie so much.
there's like a normal guy in there, and then he's
Yeah.
just like, hey.
But they all love
the
him.
IT guy,
Yeah.
and he just hangs out there.
So I can't really say anything. I've never seen this movie.
Oh my god, Hunter.
Same reaction.
Well, now you
Definitely
know. Yeah.
recommend.
That's definitely going on the watch list.
And check out the show if you have time.
The
It's a
show
very
is
funny
amazing.
show.
I would say watch the movie first and then the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are both equally incredible, amazing, hilarious. Like,
Well, it doesn't look like What We Do in the Shadows is streaming, but the show is on Hulu.
All right, so yeah, I have Hulu Live, so I'll be able to find it.
But you can rent it for $3. Or I might have a screen pass. I'll check on that.
There you go. All right, I believe it's on to Carrie now.
All right, so I'm gonna bring up another classic, and that is Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2. Okay.
Yeah. This I think is, this is I think more horror comedy than the first Evil Dead.
For sure.
And so that's why I wanted to bring up the second one. And it's just Sam Raimi had more money with this one. It's a little bit more polished. They had more money for special effects and everything. And I don't know, this is just such a fantastic movie. This definitely leans, I think, a little bit more into the horror element, but there's so many comedic moments in this movie. Like, when all of the objects in the room are laughing at Ash, and then he just starts laughing.
Deer head.
The deer head, when his hand is going off on its own, and like there's so many funny moments, but so many terrifying moments too, right? Like all the scenes in the woods, he still does that great effect, like zoom, like I don't know, the camera like going up to the house and then going back.
Yeah, the zoom in effects.
It's just amazing. This is just one of my favorite movies of all time.
I get a lot of enjoyment of just Carrie trying to explain these complicated Sam Raimi shots that he's done, because that's the thing about Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and the Evil Dead series is not as much with the second one, but the first one they like created so many really great like just camera movements and just shots. Just out of necessity, because they didn't have a lot of money. So they were like, let's shoot this and how as best we can, how we want to do it. And they made a really damn good horror film in The Evil Dead with some comedy. But it's actually, we rewatched this. It's actually a very creepy movie, that first movie. And then the second one, they steer so hard into comedy, but it's amazing. And there's still even a lot of really great scares in the second Evil Dead. And it's seriously like any horror movie, comedy, any type of movie. It's just one of the most fun movies you could ever watch, because you're just like, what the hell's going to happen next? This is so insane. And it's mostly just Bruce Campbell until like the end of the second act or something, I think, and then the other people show up, and there you get actual like story and stuff like that. But for a while, it's basically just Ash going crazy, getting cabin fever in this cabin, and just not having a great time, cutting off his own damn hand, then attacking his hand, and then attaching a chainsaw to his arm, and just all this crazy shit that happens. A corpse dancing with like stop motion effects. You know, just so much like really fun, crazy stuff that happens in this movie, and you just really get a feel for the cabin fever, and it's just so funny. And I love all the effects, even like the big deadite head or whatever at the end, just effects like that. You're just like, they really went like all out to make just one of the funnest horror movies ever. I know funnest isn't a word, but it's a word. Yeah, some of the ones like when you have like the blood rushing from the hole at Bruce Campbell, just hearing like that they did that with gravity, like they
Yeah.
actually tilted everything and just had blood drop on them, and you're like, what?
Which that sounds so fun. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds amazingly
Yeah,
fun.
and apparently his skin or whatever was just like dyed red for a long time.
Imagine walking out in public and your face is just like half red.
Making a horror film.
Yep, making a horror
Yeah.
film.
On to you, Hunter. What do you think about this
So
movie?
I actually really love this movie. Of all of the Evil Dead movies, this most feels like a horror comedy. And I'll say that only because Army of Darkness feels more like a comedy over a horror.
Yeah.
The first one feels more like a horror over a comedy. This one is Evil Dead 2 is a perfect mix of both of them. You get good comedic moments from Ash Williams, aka Bruce Campbell, and then you get, some really good horror shots as well. It's a perfect balance where I feel like Army of Darkness went too far with the comedy, and then the original one went more for a horror vibe to it. So that's a perfect selection for this type of topic, I'll say.
Oh yeah, for sure. The third one definitely goes way too not too much into comedy, because I really enjoy a lot of that film. I think it kind of just goes a little too hard into the third act, that I don't really enjoy the third act that much of Army of Darkness. But what? Oh, but yeah, like there's really a lot of fun stuff in there. But Evil Dead is able to have so much comedy, but still hold on to that really like the scary stuff too, like with the mom played by Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi, yeah.
Oh my God, Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn.
Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn. So I believe it's on to me now, correct?
Yep.
I'm going to throw a curveball here because I'm not sure if this is counted as a horror comedy or not, but it's definitely a horror satire. And I'm going to say 2000's American Psycho. I think you're both muted.
Yeah.
We
we're fine.
are.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going with American Psycho. I feel like this is a great horror satire on how people obsessed over things, over having the better things, having the bigger things, having the best cars, the best clothes, the best name plates, name tags.
Oh, it's the business card.
The business cards, yeah. The better business cards.
Oh my God, it's so funny. And those are like, that's a serious conversation people unfortunately have.
Yeah. And the whole like Huey Lewis in the news scene is one of my favorite scenes in horror history. I love the use of like not only the music, but tying in what the music meant, and then just going balls to the wall with an axe to the face. And you're just like, where did this come from? And the whole idea of like Patrick Bateman, if you look in the background, Patrick Bateman is getting ready. He's like putting the tarp on. He's like laying down the plastic, and then like you see him just like running back and forth in the background while Paul, played by Jared Leto, is just lounging on the couch. And then he grabs the axe, and then as he explained it, it comes down, boom. And you're just like, okay, is this supposed to be a comedy? Because that was hilarious, but also poor Paul at the same time. But the whole idea of like the satire of people going to the extremes that's what makes it funny to me. The whole idea of like, how far will one person go to have the better car, or the best business, or the best business cards, or the beautiful girlfriends, or the whole picturesque of New York City, pretty much in the 90s and early 2000s, of like wanting the bigger and better things, is what makes this movie kind of funny to me. But also has really good, not only acting, but really good suspenseful scenes, like the scene where he's chasing the hooker down the hotel lobby with the
Stairs.
naked, and he has the chainsaw, and he
Mhm.
drops the chainsaw down the stairwell as she's running, trying to, kind of just, playing games with her. Or, the whole uncomfortable scene of him before that with the hookers in the hotel room making the movie and things like that. But then it also has funny moments in that same scene with him flexing, looking at himself in the mirror while having the sex scene. You're just like, this dude is out of his fucking mind. So yeah, throwing a little curveball with American Psycho.
Awesome. Yeah, this is I think this is a good one. I was a little surprised when you said this at first, but when you pointed out it's a satire, it really is. And there are some like really genuinely funny moments in this movie. So I think this is a great pick. I really want to rewatch this movie actually because it's been so long that I've seen it. I remember certain scenes and then other scenes I just like have no recollection of.
I'm in the exact same boat as Carrie here. That it's been so long since I've seen it that I remember specific parts, especially that stairwell chainsaw thing you said.
Yeah.
You can't ever forget that scene. But like, there's I feel like this is a great movie with Christian Bale, and you're not far off. It's described as a black comedy.
Mhm.
But I also love that it was directed by a
A
woman.
woman.
Mary
Yeah.
Harron. And that's just like really great because it was like early 2000s, right?
2000.
Yeah, 2000. So
Yeah.
so I mean, a really great early horror film directed by a woman. I think that's amazing. Great, Christian Bale in it. So fun. I don't remember enough of it to be able to talk about like the comedy aspect of it, but yeah, we're definitely gonna check this one out again soon because I have it on 4K.
Oh,
Actually.
nice.
Yeah, we're gonna check.
Yeah,
this
I
out.
gotta rewatch it too. But there are lines in there that I'll never forget. Like the opening line dialogue about his daily routine, where he's like, hopping in the shower, use this and this together to make, the perfect hair bounce, and it feels like it's coming from a book because it was based on a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of like having like a checklist, but like Patrick Bateman talking in his own head about gotta do this and this and this in this particular order, and then you'll get the results or whatever. And then like him doing like 100 sit-ups in the morning, and then just the whole idea of like having this perfect life, but then at the same time not feeling satisfied with what you have. Like you always want a little bit more. You always just want a tiny bit more. And the cast of this movie is insane. You got like again Christian Bale. You have Reese Witherspoon as his girlfriend, Willem Dafoe as the police detective going after him, Jared Leto as his rival Paul. You just got so many great actors in this movie that I really forgot a lot of them were in this movie.
Yeah, I definitely forgot until you just said it that Reese Witherspoon and Willem Dafoe were in this movie.
Yep.
I
Yep.
didn't even know that. So okay.
She was the picture perfect girlfriend.
Nice.
All right, Chad, on to you.
Yeah, I always panic because I'm like, I don't know what the hell to bring up next.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm between two, but I'll go with one that I knew I wanted to bring up, and I actually haven't seen the movie in a long time. We're gonna need to rewatch this movie, but it's one of the big reasons why Carrie and I are together. So I'll bring up 1992's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Never seen it.
This movie, we haven't seen it in a long time, so we'll have to breeze right over this. I just wanted to bring it up, maybe as like kind of an honorable mention, because I don't think the movie's that great, to be honest. I remember actually, he who will not be named, Joss, did not like this movie because he didn't have much creative control over it, but it gave us our favorite show of all time, and that has to be commended, I think, right?
Yeah.
I still gotta watch the show too.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't yet? Okay.
The movie
watch
is
it.
definitely like really campy. It's like, but there's some gems in there. Like Christy Swanson, I think, is she's not Sarah Michelle Gellar, but I think she's a decent
Yeah.
Buffy. She's like a little bit of a different vibe than Sarah Michelle Gellar.
David Arquette's in it. Paul Rubens.
Paul Rubens is in it. That's like
Paul
a
Rubens
great
is in it?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Luke Perry, I think.
No,
is
no,
in it.
no.
Is that not Luke Perry?
Yeah, no, I think it is Luke Perry, but he's like way too
Wow.
old at that point to be a high school student, so it's actually kind of hilarious.
And there's like a contract because, like, if you watch the show Buffy, the directors, the Kazooie people or whatever, they're always in the credits because they had
Interesting.
via contract they had to be in the credits, even though they had nothing to do with the show. But
definitely recommend the show. The movie is a fun little. I think it's like a fun little piece of really early 90s.
can I bring up another one real quick since we breezed over
Yeah,
that
sure.
one? All right, so let me bring up one we've actually seen recently called The Voices. Okay.
Never seen it.
All right, well, I'll bring that one up because that actually piggybacks a little bit off of American Psycho. If you really like American Psycho, you'll like The Voices because it's actually Ryan Reynolds in this movie, and it's a really crazy like horror thriller, but it's also a comedy as well because what happens is this dude is like really insane. You start to find out he's really insane. He talks. He has a dog and he has a cat, and he talks to both of them in different like kind of. So he kind of seems like he has like split personality disorder. Like, so he like talks like the cat's this like really smart like kind of asshole.
Like cats are.
Huh?
Like cats are.
Sure. And then the dog, yeah. So the dog's kind of like this, like sweet, like hey, buddy, kind of a deal. And he uses different voices in his head, but you can never really super tell like what's real because he's got like, this universe that's real and kind of pretty and everything's gorgeous, but there's like a real world behind the veneer of what's going on in his head. And it's really fucked up, the real world, because he is actually like he turns into kind of like a serial killer type of a deal. And so that's where it kind of comes through with the psychological like slasher like serial killer aspect. That's why you bringing up American Psycho really reminded me of The Voices. It's very funny, but I also find it very stressful because it has kind of like a semi like sort of ending American Psycho does, where everything's kind of building up to, is he going to get caught? Is he not going to get caught? And I won't spoil that, but it's actually really fun, funny, stressful in a way because it's so suspenseful. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. But I highly recommend that, Hunter. What do you think about The Voices, Carrie?
This wasn't my favorite movie. I think it was a really good, like really interesting kind of delve into mental illness. And it, how people may deal with severe mental illness. And there were some aspects of this I liked. There were some funny bits. Overall, I think actually good. The reason I didn't love this was because I found it actually pretty
Very stressful. Yeah.
And like, I don't know, just a little bit of I think overall kind of like a bummer.
It kind of, because you
for
actually
horror comedy, it was kind of a bummer.
I think the reason why is because you actually like the character. You like him. And then you also like the people that end up not so alive. And I won't spoil anything, but I will throw in there that Anna Kendrick is also in the movie, and she's amazing in it.
Wow, she's really good.
Who is she again?
She's in stuff. I can't remember what else she's in though, but
she's in stuff.
I'm so bad.
She's in things.
She's been in.
Who is it? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, she is. I can't remember. I don't want to waste time going into her IMDb history or whatever. Arterton. That's why.
Oh, like Hansel and Gretel and stuff.
Yeah, that wasn't what I meant.
I was about to say, you didn't have to bring her up. I mean, no offense to Jenna. She's probably a great actress.
Or maybe she was in something I watched like the day before we watched that movie or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
The girl with all the gifts. She's in stuff. That's good.
Yeah. She's in stuff. I mean, she's an actress.
She has a career.
She has a career. So I believe we're on to Carrie now, correct?
Yeah. So I'm going to. Oh, I thought I was ready, but I don't know if I'm ready.
That wasn't a horror comedy list.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Gremlins 2.
The new batch.
Both, I mean, and I love both Gremlins movies. Gremlins 2 is definitely the more comedy of the two. I honestly, it probably isn't that much horror. There's a little bit in there, but it is just a wild movie. Just the concepts that are thrown out, the way the whole second movie is by the same people who made the first movie, but they're totally just making fun of the first movie the whole time. It's fantastic. I don't know, just all the different gremlins in this movie are hilarious. Kind of the revamping of the storyline, but then they make fun of the fact that they're revamping the same old storyline. I don't know. I think this is just a great movie. It's a great horror comedy, in my opinion.
Again, I've never seen it. I've seen the first one.
Oh
Never
my
seen the second.
gosh. Okay. We can talk about the first one.
Well, I'll say, Hunter. Yeah, you're in for a treat if you throw on Gremlins 2, especially if you like Gremlins 1, because Carrie said it's so meta, pokes fun at Gremlins. Gremlins 2 was such a surprise when I saw it, and yeah, I'm not a horror gatekeeper. If it's even remotely like related to horror or something like that, I'm fine with calling it a horror movie. And this definitely is. I mean, it's classified on like Wikipedia as comedy horror. So, but yeah, this movie is like kind of balls to the wall insane, and those are sometimes done well. Mind you. If when it's done really well, I love insane movies like this that just they're not afraid to just go and crazy, and they throw every single kind of gremlin you can have at you. Yeah, there's like a scene where Leonard Maltin is
Yes.
he's reviewing Gremlins.
Yeah.
Oh
the
my
first
god.
movie,
Yes.
and he like doesn't he get like attacked by
I
gremlins?
think so. Yeah.
I gotta watch this movie.
Yeah.
I promise you it's a good fucking time.
I thought it was going to be a really dumb sequel when I first watched it, and then I was like, my eyes open wide, like, is this movie good? Is this movie brilliant? Oh my god, this is so fun. I love this. So yeah, there's like even like a Hulk Hogan standing up in a crowded theater telling people.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's like a lot of really crazy stuff in this movie. So it's,
Hulk Hogan just randomly appears. Okay.
yeah, he's in it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I knew you would like that. So.
Yeah, I definitely gotta check out that movie because that sounds like an insanely good time.
It's a fun time, yeah.
All right, so the one I'm gonna bring up next is one I watched recently, like I think last year, and that's Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I love this movie. What's great about it is it's a movie about circumstances and misunderstandings, and it's got Alan Tudyk in it. He's always great in everything he does. Tyler Labine as Dale is amazingly dumb in this movie, but I love him. He's so sweet. And then you just got an insane third act where like all of a sudden this guy, the main villain, is just fucking supernatural. You're like, okay, fuck it. We're going here, ladies and gentlemen. But the whole idea of like, it's got that Evil Dead vibe with the cabin in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just got, Tucker and Dale go there just to, rebuild it. And then just circumstances happen. These teens come in and they think that they kidnapped one of, the main girl. And then the funniest part is Dale is doing the wood chipper. The guy comes running with a spear and he just runs straight into the wood chipper.
Is that what you were thinking about and laughing?
I was just thinking about this whole freaking movie. Like, yeah, I love this movie so much. I didn't know what to expect when I first watched this, and I just kind of fell in love with it because it is like the perfect, like, don't judge a book by its cover movie. And like that's basically the theme of the movie. And it's like, well, these guys are the typical what you would see like in a backwoods kind of like horror, we're gonna kill you and stuff like that kind of a deal. And it flips it on its head. Like, no, these are guys who they spent like all their money on this cabin that's really shitty and falling apart, and they want to fix it up and just have a vacation home. They never had
Mhm.
anything in their lives, and they're just really sweet, and they just want to go out there, fix this place up, drink some beer, and then like they get totally stereotyped by these shitty kids.
Yep.
And then they come out. Of course, some of them are like hot girls, so like they kind of like go like ooh, but they're not creepy or anything like that. But the kids think that they're creepy, like when they're out going like skinny dipping and stuff, they're like, oh, I gotta cover up because these creepy dudes out there. They're just like, we're just out here just hanging out, like we're not even doing anything creepy. And then when everybody starts to just get killed, it's because they're so stupid. They get killed because of their stereotypes, because
Yep.
they end up running into things away from these guys that are just minding their own business and living their own lives. And it's just so funny. And you're right, the guys are just so hilarious and sweet. And I don't remember every single one of the hilarious kills, but
I do. I remember a lot of them.
Didn't somebody
I remember this dude got like it was one of the dick teenagers, and he steps in this beehive, and bees are attacking him, and then he runs straight into a tree branch that's just like pointed outwards. And right after the wood chipper scene, the funniest part is you see Alan Tudyk's character trying to pull the body out, and he's pulling the half a body, and the cops come, and he's like, "Fuck!" Just got half a torso, just like kind of like running it when the cops are coming.
Doesn't at one point Alan Tudyk get like really injured, so his face gets kind of disfigured, so he like looks even creepier or whatever?
Yeah, so he gets stung by a bee, and he has a large reaction to it, and he's like, teenagers. Hey, teenagers.
Yeah, it's a brilliant movie. You're making me want to rewatch this now.
He even says, he's like, we have your friend.
What do you think about this movie,
Oh
Karen?
my god, I love this movie. This movie is hilarious. Y'all are just reminding me how hilarious this movie is and how much we need to rewatch it. Because I think the only time we've seen it, Chad, is we did
I've seen it twice.
Oh, okay, never mind. The only time I've seen it is we did a cabin in the woods a few years ago. We watched it there.
That was a while ago. We need to revisit
that
this
was a few years ago. Who knows?
Such a
Time
great
runs
movie.
together, but
There's so many funny moments in this movie. It just constantly keeps going.
Yeah.
And then the end of the movie just gets wild. Because then you have like Dale hung upside down by a rope, and then this fucking psychotic teenager is like racist against hillbillies. Just all of them. And you're just like, oh, all right, man. All right, so I believe we're on Chad next.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring up one that I did not expect to be good because it's a very, very silly concept, but it's Rubber, the movie Rubber, about the tire.
I hate this movie.
Oh my god, really?
So I really, really like this movie a lot because it's one of the weirdest concepts ever, but it turns out to kind of be like, in my opinion, good and really funny and interesting. And it's just about like a tire that becomes sentient and goes around just like killing people. And he kind of does it, I guess, because he like gets mad and stuff. But like it's not just that. They actually make it's like a really fun like satire of horror films. And so, basically what he'll do is the tire will just start to vibrate and things will explode.
Yeah, he like rolls and just touches things, and they just somehow burst into flames. I'm just like, how?
It's hilarious. I don't know. I love this movie too. I think we were expecting it. I think we put it on expecting something like a Birdemic or something, or at least I was.
That's what I thought. Even watching it, I was like, "Yeah, this is Birdemic, just with a tire."
No, oh my gosh,
Birdemic is barely a movie.
Funny.
That movie is like grating to your ears and all your senses.
Yeah, but I don't know. I loved Rubber.
Rubber is totally, in our opinion, watchable. I could see someone watching this movie and actually having the same opinion as Hunter. It's not a movie for everyone, but I think if you watch it, you may or may not really enjoy it.
I do think it's a love it or hate it movie. Like this recently came up in like a horror Facebook group I'm on, and it was literally like 50-50 people like saying this was the stupidest movie I've ever watched, and people like me be like, I love this movie.
Yeah, it's a divisive film, but I really enjoy this one.
Yeah, I'm on the side of this is the stupidest movie I've ever seen. But I will not lie, this is a really good drinking movie. If you just want something on in the background while you're getting drunk or high or both.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's high art or anything, but this isn't the Babadook. This is Rubber.
This is Rubber.
I mean, you kind of have to know what you're getting into when you go into it. I watched this movie and I was just like, I don't get what's so fun about this movie. I mean, it reminds me so much of those movies that are not like so good as bad, like The Room. I think The Room is one of the best good bad movies of all time.
Yeah, for sure. I love The Room
because you could tell that Tommy Wiseau put so much effort into this, and it just everything goes so wrong that you can enjoy it. This feels like a class movie that someone wanted to make so good it's bad.
Honestly, I don't really agree. I think Rubber's actually smarter than people give it credit for. But I'd need to rewatch it to be able to defend that point.
Yeah, I don't have to rewatch it myself.
Yeah, I think my view of it when I watched it was, that it was purposefully this like most ridiculous concept. So like, that was like part of the humor of it.
But I don't think they intentionally. I think the concept they wanted to be kind of ridiculous, but I don't think they purposely made it like bad. Because I think they made an actual good movie. Like The Room, The Room is so poorly made that in some way I think you could make a conspiracy theory, and I'm sure there are out there like it did everything so bad that it was intentional. But I don't think that's accurate. I just think that you could like say like yeah. Anyways, both enjoyable for different reasons. I think.
Yeah, I can definitely say that. All right, Carrie, on to you.
So I'm gonna go with another one of my favorite horror comedies, another Sam Raimi movie because I love him so much. Drag Me to Hell. And this is another one. You haven't seen it? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry to bring up something you haven't seen.
We watch different movies.
I think some people, I don't know. Some people don't like this. I think because it is like a very Sam Raimi film but if you like Evil Dead, I think you will really enjoy this movie, and you know who Sam Raimi is. There's a lot of good horror elements in it, but there's a lot of, it's like, so some of the scenes are so over the top and ridiculous and just hilarious, and it's supposed to be that way because it's a horror comedy. So it doesn't take itself too seriously is one of the things I love about it.
Yeah.
But there are some like really genuine, really scary moments in this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Drag Me to Hell is actually a really brilliant film. I don't understand the type of personality that can't love that movie because it's so well done, but everyone has different opinions on films, but I think Drag Me to Hell is brilliant. Like Carrie said, it is legitimately scary. There's so many because the Lamia, the demon or whatever of the movie, just every time like that presence, you think there might be like a jump scare or something. So well done, and I get scared every single time, even though I've seen it a bunch of times. And then there's just the way that he makes this gypsy woman haunt this girl throughout the film is just like a lot of the visuals and just kind of gross out humor. I think is just so well done and just like kind of poetic. But yeah, and then you have like certain things like the way the demons talk and animals will come like possessed and stuff like that, and it's just insane. I think this movie is way scarier than actually any Evil Dead film, because it actually goes there. And he really made a very scary film with a lot of really funny moments in too. I love Justin Long in it, and I love the ending of the film. There's one thing that I absolutely hate about this film, and it is something to do with an animal. But I will say that, maybe I don't want to have a whole episode devoted to that. But one thing that I absolutely hate about horror films, and Carrie, I think, agrees with me on this, is the way that they treat animals just for a plot convenience, just to kill like an animal just to show that something wrong is going on, or like sacrificing an animal to something. Stuff like that really turns me off in horror.
Kind of like in The Conjuring, for example.
Yes, The Conjuring, freaking Evil Dead 2013 is one of the worst offenders.
It is honestly all of Mike Flanagan's movies have
Mike Flanagan's really bad with that.
Yeah,
and I love.
Even though
Mike
I love
Flanagan.
this movies, they're all like that.
But I just wish they didn't like go to that weird trope anymore. But anyway, I don't want to get on a side tangent of that. I think Drag Me to Hell is great. Hunter, please check that out when you get a chance, because I think
definitely
you would really enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm getting a lot of movies I have to check out on my watch list.
We're gonna bring up American Psycho.
Definitely. All right, so I'm gonna bring up one that's very divisive on people. I really love this movie.
Hate it.
You probably will. I'm going 2017's The Babysitter, directed by Mick G.
This is one we haven't seen.
Hey,
tell us about it.
You said it's a Mick G movie?
Yeah, it's directed by Mick G, and it stars Samara Weaving.
Love I
know, right? Samara Weaving's amazing, but she plays this really cool babysitter to this 13-year-old boy, which like they bring up the joke in the movie of like this dude, like this kid's 13. Why is he still need a babysitter? You understand why when you see Samara Weaving, you're like, oh, because she's fucking cool. She's a great babysitter. And then the trailers kind of ruin it, so I don't know how much I should say, but it takes a dark twist via cult.
Okay, yeah, say no more. We don't want any spoilers.
It's Samara Weaving and a cult horror thriller with tons of blood.
I will say
amazing.
I will say I don't want to detract from your choice. I really want to talk about this after we watch it. Maybe we can do a little segment next time, or maybe not next time. Whenever we can actually get a lot of these watched, we can go, oh, by the way, I watched this and we really liked it. Or
exactly, yeah.
I really like Drag Me to Hell. Anyways, the other one that you kind of reminded me of is that we watched recently, Better Watch Out. The Christmas horror film.
I love that movie.
It's a very similar style from what you were describing with The Babysitter.
You know what? I'm okay talking about Better Watch Out right now because you guys haven't seen The Babysitter, and there's a lot I don't want to spoil. But I will say the sequel to The Babysitter not only has Samara Weaving, but it has Jenna Ortega in the cast.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So it's great. The second one is not as good as the first one, but they both have great moments in them. But yeah, I'm definitely down to talk about Better Watch Out. It's probably the best Christmas horror movie.
It's up there for sure. I mean, you still got like Black Christmas and stuff like that.
Yeah, the original Black
might
Christmas
never be topped, but I enjoyed Better Watch Out more than any other horror Christmas film, I think, other than maybe A Christmas Horror Story was really good as well.
What is that?
Gremlins is gonna be top for me.
Gremlins is up there, but Better Watch Out, I think, was even just more of a surprise than Gremlins. Gremlins is just a classic, though, so I get that. That's for sure. It's hard to compare these sometimes, but Better Watch Out. I don't want to even spoil it for any viewers because it takes a really good turn at one point. You're kind of like, all right, where are you going with this?
I feel like the movie's been out long enough that we can kind of get into a little bit of spoiler talk.
All right, spoiler alert for Better Watch Out. That's been out for a minute. I think it was like 2015 or something.
Yeah, so it was had a smart release 2015 release worldwide in 2016.
Okay. Yeah, so Better Watch Out's fantastic. It's about like a couple kids who are babysitted, and they're also kind of too old to be babysitted, but it turns out the main kid is kind of a freaking psychopath. And
Mm-hmm.
he I don't remember his like motivations. I know he's just like pissed off at everybody and just kind of like wants to kill everybody, and he even pulls like a Home Alone with the paint can, and
Yeah.
The
it's
Home
really
Alone
fucked up.
scene,
Yes.
dude. The great thing about that is they set it up at the very beginning of the movie, and you forget about it, and then
Really?
you're like, "Oh my god, he's got paint cans. Are they gonna test it?" And
We've
then,
only seen this once, so I don't remember that, but that was kind of brilliant, yeah.
yeah,
And
I've watched this movie at least 3 times already.
yeah, and you're just always kind of wondering like where it's gonna go. Is this kid gonna get caught? Is he gonna, like, or if so, how? Or is he gonna die? What happens to this kid? Maybe we'll just leave that kind of ambiguous. But I think the
Yeah.
the end is actually pretty satisfying. I think
Mhm.
because you think he's gonna get away with it, and then he doesn't. But I won't say what, how, and
Man,
yeah, it's just a really, really great. I really love the perform. I don't remember his name, but I really love the performance of the kid that's the psychopath.
Levi Miller.
Oh my god, that dude was so good. He was so unhinged and so good
Mm-hmm.
at being unhinged. He made me scared, and he was like a freaking little 13-year-old.
Yep.
Go ahead, Carrie. Do you like this
Go
movie?
ahead,
Yeah,
Terry.
this was a great movie. We watched it, and I think we're pleasantly surprised at how fantastic it was. I don't know, just a great horror comedy. Another great horror comedy with great kills, and like gore,
Yes.
which is awesome. That's
The way he like sits there and thinks of killing these people in ways that would make it look like they did it
yeah,
themselves while
Yeah.
also kind of whistling a Christmas tune or something like that. Oh my, this is going to be a Christmas staple we watch every year.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
got
I
you
watch
can
it
even
every
watch
year.
it. You can even watch it and not during Christmas time, and it's probably still
Exactly.
very fun.
yeah,
So I do remember what started like his whole plot. What started his whole plot was pretty much this little kid thinks he's an adult
Mhm.
and he wants to bang his babysitter.
Okay, there
yeah,
you
She
go.
has a boyfriend and he doesn't like that, so him and his friends stages this fake home invasion. Which,
Right.
by the way, the kid who plays his friend, the fact that his character ran out and took a fucking BB gun shot to the back to like sell the home invasion.
yeah.
He went for it, man.
Crazy.
When she found out, and then that's when the big plan came to be. But
Yeah.
yeah, Levi Miller is fucking great in this movie. Love the opening scene where you see that Patrick Warburton and Virginia Madsen are his mom and dad.
Oh, Virginia Madsen is his mom. I didn't
Whoa.
even
Yes,
realize that.
and
Sort of.
Patrick Warburton is his dad, and that's amazing. And then Dacre Montgomery of Stranger Things fame plays her boyfriend in this movie.
Boyfriend,
He's the
yeah.
one that gets hung by the neck by the tree. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. This is a movie that I was just scrolling through Prime Video, saw it, and it was like, "No, this looks interesting." Really love the twist they took. Really love the kind of how this movie like took itself seriously enough, but also had very goofy ass moments that you're just like, "Yeah, this works as a horror comedy."
Mhm.
It's more of a black comedy, I would say. Not really a horror
Sure.
comedy, more of a black comedy.
It's definitely a very enjoyable horror film. I really
Yeah.
like it quite a bit. And I think because I know you said you wanted to keep it like to an hour. I was
Yeah.
kind of scrolling through a lot of like the ones that are kind of left and stuff, and I was just sitting there thinking like, I mean, we could even like maybe not do a whole other like second part to horror comedies,
Mhm.
but maybe we could do like a half and half with something else.
Yeah.
Like, there's still a lot to cover, and I'm having
I
such a
mean,
great
there's one
time.
more that we can bring up that's kind of an obvious one we can all talk about, and that's Cabin in
Sure.
the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Cabin in the Woods is the ultimate horror comedy because it's the only movie that I can think of where no matter what horror movie you watch, it could be in the same universe as Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
very true. Yeah.
They open
Like
it
you
up.
can watch The Shining and then all of a sudden be like, well, did the crew bring down the twins? Or like I love how they all tie in to, classic horror monsters, especially the end of the movie where you just see like every one of the horror icons come out. You see Pennywise, you see a giant king cobra snake, you see deadites, you see just all of them.
When you see that, it's actually really interesting because it's a very scary moment because all the doors open and then there's like a pause and then
yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, what just even happened? You might have to pause it to be like, what's going on?
I have
here?
paused it. Okay. I have paused it multiple times. I've seen some funny shit. Like if you pause it right before the King Cobra attacks, you can see Pennywise like on a tricycle chasing down a ghost. And you're just like, yes, that's what I want when I pause a movie. It's amazing. Because the attention of detail that they put into every one of these monster effects, which another fun fact, the guy who did the effects, like the makeup and effects, is married to Heather Langenkamp.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
So she had a like a producer role on this film.
And Heather Langenkamp is Nancy Thompson of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street fame.
For you who don't know.
Yep. And then you see, oh my God, who is it? Who plays the director? Sigourney Weaver as the director.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Which is like another great nod to a horror icon in Ellen Ripley. And then like again, it starts off as an Evil Dead movie, but I love the idea of like the scene where they're all like being like, let's stick together. It makes more sense. And then they put the pheromones in there, and Chris Hemsworth goes, "Nah, it makes more sense. We split up."
Yeah,
let's do that.
Yeah, the brilliance of Cabin in the Woods is just like it does start as kind of like an Evil Dead like kind of rip off a little bit or like homage at least, and then it turns into this brilliant movie that is on the similar footing of Evil Dead, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's almost just as good because it turns out that there's like this government like conspiracy where they're like actually orchestrating a lot of these things, but then there's also supernatural elements to it, and there's this whole thing.
The Butner family are fucking terrifying.
Yes. And you have behind the wheel, you have Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins.
Yes.
And it's just like this crazy team. There's a lot of cameos from the Buffyverse as well, because behind the wheel, you had Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard, who were like Buffy / Angel creators. And, so you have like Tom Link from there and Amy Acker from the Buffyverse. And for us, it's really fun to see those cameos. But then also for like, everyone else, it's just really fun to see this movie play out. And you get a really early, like you said, Chris Hemsworth in it. I really love
this was filmed right before Thor came out.
Yes.
So
I really love Fran Kranz in it. He's the stoner guy. Because
Marty.
He turns out to be kind of like one of like the hero of the movie.
He's the smartest one out there because he doesn't smoke other people's weed. He smokes his weed.
And you never think that the stoner is going to be the one to be the badass hero at the end with the other girl. And these kids like die in like all the craziest ways, like Chris Hemsworth trying to escape and hitting and slamming into the barrier.
And what's funny is on that moment, maybe it was just for me, I forgot that there was an opening scene that shows that there was a force field there.
Oh yeah,
because the bird flies and then he dies. Yeah. And as I was watching the movie, I was legit shocked that he didn't make it. I was like, oh my God, they had that at the beginning of the movie to kind of tie it all in.
Yeah, so they like explain like, all of the logistics of the stuff, like, well, how can they don't just leave? There's a barrier, stuff like that. And it's really just a brilliant film, and they do hammer in. I just love how they have like you said, all of the different kinds of horror villains they've actually used on people before, like
Yeah.
the damn when they go to Japan and it's like whatever the
It's
little
yeah,
girl-
Yeah.
it's Samara.
yeah. What's the line?
The evil has been defeated.
evil
That's
has been
what I always
defeated.
remember.
But then there's like he's talking about like freaking something.
Oh,
Freaking
that like with their
Oh,
ghost or whatever.
the one line I remember from that is like they're like, oh, Japan has defeated their foes, and
Yeah.
it shows the camera. And it's like the evil has been defeated. The ring lady is now a frog or whatever, and then Bradley Whitford is just at the camera. Fuck you.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. Oh, and then the other bit that I absolutely love in this movie is how he obsesses about seeing a mermaid or merman.
A merman, yeah.
And he finally sees it, and it's
But he
scary
dies
as
to it.
hell. And that's
But he
how
dies to it,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, come on,
Come on.
Carrie,
That's a great
remember some
movie.
moments?"
What? Oh my gosh. I'm trying to there's just so many great parts to this movie. Like it's just such a brilliant concept.
Yeah, they even have like the whole thing where it's like everybody cheer, like when they're having sex and she takes off her shirt and everybody cheers.
Yeah, and they're like,
yeah. Like horror tropes like that they
Yep.
really pile in. Like, what if every horror movie ever has had these people behind the scenes doing this?
Funny enough, she's like, "It's too dark to do it out here." They got a fucking spotlight.
It's like too cold, so they like warm it up.
They like warm it up.
Yeah.
They have heaters.
I
That's
also
so
really
funny.
like how they think they've been successful. They're having the whole big party in the background, and then you can see in the background on the camera monitors that the girl, I forget her name, has like come back up, and she's actually still alive and like fending off the killer.
Yeah.
Dana.
So
No.
it is Dana. Is
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah.
yeah. So like in the background, like one of the Butners is like attacking Dana on the, which I'm taking as an ode to Friday the 13th because it is it's a pond area,
like,
and
it's like the dock. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're fighting on the docks. But again, I love the idea that in this movie, weed is the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, by the way, I want his fucking bong that turns to a coffee mug. They have to make that somewhere. I want that. You can just like make coffee and then you can just like smoke your weed at the same time. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And with that, we're gonna end. All right, so yeah, we are about an hour and 20 minutes into this. So let's go ahead and cut this, I guess, short-ish. Chad and Carrie, where do people find you online?
Oh my gosh, not many places. I think I don't think it's aired yet, a horror match.
It'll be airing tonight.
Okay, wow, airing tonight, a match in Hunter's Trivia League. So you can check that out.
Yeah, I'm also over in Hunter's League doing horror. I did okay my first match. I won't reveal anything about my second one. I don't think that's dropped yet. But yeah, I do I do not horror trivia, but I do trivia like all over the place. TMG, pretty much everywhere in the fan leagues you can find trivia. And then I do debate a lot. That's one of my big favorite things I love to do over at Movie Battlegrounds. And then my buddy Henry Confidential has started doing some debate stuff over on his channel, which was really fun. I do picture this is probably one of my biggest things I do over on the Dill Pickle Movie Network. And if you can go over there, like and subscribe, he does a lot of great stuff over there. But we do an Oscar show where each month we do a year of the Oscars. We rate, talk about, and then rank the films of each Oscar year for the best picture. So we do the nominees, the winners. We highlight actors and actresses, and then we just basically give our overall thoughts of the year. the Oscar ceremony. And this month we're doing 2021 films since the Oscars are in like 2 weeks.
Wow, they are in
And
2 weeks.
and yeah, so we have a lot of fun over there. And I also on my channel I try to do some ranking stuff. I know Hunter's trying to do some ranking here soon.
Maybe.
We do some ranking over on my channel. It's just my name, Chadwick Webb. And we did like Edgar Wright Christmas. I need to get a Harry Potter episode out soon. I think I'm gonna try to like get it out like when the third Fantastic Beast is coming out.
That's
And
smart.
then, yeah, and then we're gonna do Denis Villeneuve and maybe MCU. But
Ooh.
yeah, that's pretty much about it that I've got going on so far. So yep, thank you, Hunter. This was fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. If you did enjoy this, hit the like button, subscribe to Nerd Entertainment Network down below. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.